So this video was on my suggestions, and I'm going to be honest, I don't know who the comeback kids are. Almost, climbing to 8K subscribers. I saw the title of this video, and I'm going to assume. What do you guys think is the 5 safest classes you could main in Wrath of the Lich King? I'm going to assume he means classes that you will be able to find raids, you will be able to find groups, that they are going to be needed. Like, for example, I'm going to suggest that shamans are not one of the safest ones, whereas in TBC they would be because everybody was dying for shamans. But if you guys were to suggest 5 classes you could main in Wrath, 5 of them. Like, I don't think warrior would be one, at least not off the hop. I'm gonna suggest. Let's assume first of all that he's talking about like you actually know how to play the class, like you're actually decent at your class as well. So if that's the case, so you're saying warlock, mage, warrior, priest, tank, druid. Lock, mage, rogue, pally, and DK. Rogue. Okay. So I'm gonna go with now. Again, I haven't listened to a second of this guy's video, so I'm going to assume that he means that you are able to play the class fairly well. I'm going to say this may sound. I'm gonna go with warlock for sure. I'm not gonna go with warrior. I think warriors are gonna be in tough for the first couple of phases. He's actually talking about main. Like, I wonder if he just means the spec or the actual class. Like, I would say holy paladins for sure. You have the best DPS all expansion. Who does? Locke, or who are you talking about? J Blanks. Rogue will be Rogue will be the best single target all expansion. I don't think they'll be like the best for everything else. Like, I think other classes will outperform them on with like overall damage and stuff like that. But for single target, rogues are going to be fucking enormous. So I'm gonna go with warlock. Holy paladin. I know I'm probably gonna like have something and I'm just not gonna think about it. Not priest. I'm gonna throw this one out here. And again, I'm just going by specs. I'm gonna throw blood DK in there. Because everybody that I hear that's playing a DK is playing DPS. They're not playing tank. Like, they're actually playing Frost or Unholy. We're trying hard to find a really, really good blood DK, but everybody's playing Frost. Nobody's advertising that they're playing a blood DK. So that's gonna be number 3 for me. Number 4. Let's see. Number 4 would be I guess I'm gonna go with mage. Mages always seem to find a way to shine. Mages always seem to find a way. And number 5. Oh man. Who are we? What are we? I'm gonna go with those 4. I'm having trouble thinking my 5th, but those 4. So what I say? Mage, warlock, blood DK, and holy paladin. Those are my 4 specs. I'm trying to think of one more, but those are my 4 specs.
The Warcraft expansion, it can always be super scary deciding what class to main throughout the expansion. So many questions would race through your head, like, are they going to be good in arenas and battlegrounds? Are they going to be viable in a raiding environment? Are they difficult to level? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the channel. My name is Sky, and today we're going to be breaking down the safest classes to pick overall in Wrath of the Lich King, based almost entirely off of those questions. Kicking things off with number 1, the Paladin. If you have ever heard about the
Okay,
Paladin in Wrath of the Lich King, you should.
I got Holy Paladin. I think he's just talking about classes, though. Because different specs are going to have a harder time finding a spot. For example, Ret Paladin, I don't know that raids are going to bring more than one.
Know exactly what I'm talking about. The Paladin has 3 specs with 3 different types
But all
of roles.
okay,
You have
all
Protection for
3 of
tanking,
them are viable, though.
Retribution for DPS, and Holy for healing. The most incredible thing about this class is that all 3 specs are phenomenal in all forms of content. They aren't just above average either. They are incredible. Protection Paladin being the #1 tanking option for most fights in every phase, and having a ton of new ability additions that make them much more powerful, like new cleave abilities.
I believe Blood DK takes over as main tank later on in the expansion. Do they not? Maybe I'm wrong, but I know Paladins are also really good. But
all of their issues from previous iterations of World of Warcraft are gone, and they shoot up to the best spot as a tank. Holy Paladin, usually the best main tank healer, gets even more mana regeneration and chunky heals, as well as getting their new biggest addition, Beacon of Light, which allows them to heal 2 targets at the same time, duplicating any healing effects onto those 2.
don't Paladins also get pretty decent AoE healing as well? Are they not decent like AoE healing? They're not just a single target healer anymore in Wrath, right?
And finally, Retribution Paladin, usually somewhat of a meme when it comes to DPS, now becomes a justice upholding lawbringer who deals massive AoE damage with their new cleave ability, Divine Storm, and a complete overhaul of their DPS rotation as a whole. For leveling, we only need to talk about this briefly because it's obvious how strong they are with the AoE potential they bring, as well as having the ability to fill every role with ease.
So all 3 specs.
On top of this, they're also once again stacked to the brim with party utility, making them fantastic to bring in a raiding environment, and you can really never have enough of them. The Paladin class as a whole is amazing come Wrath of the Lich King, with the ability to have all 3 types of class roles, and all of them being amazing and crucial to so many scenarios truly makes this class great. They are crucial to have in raids, dominate PvP with high burst damage as Retribution, and they have strong multi-target healing as Holy. And they even have a unique hybrid spec known as Preg for those sword and shield lovers, making them easily the safest option come Wrath of the Lich King. Moving on to number 2.
Oh, he's going from one.
In World of Warcraft,
Okay, we got
Mage
this
is
then.
always going to be a solid choice. One of the 3 specs is going to be amazing for PvP, and one of the 3 specs is going to be amazing for PvE. In Wrath of the Lich King, this formula definitely still applies. For PvP, your primary specialization is going to be Frost. Great crowd control, amazing burst damage, and defensives as well. Don't forget, in this expansion, they get the brand new ability, Deep Freeze, which is a stun effect that can allow you to deal insane damage with shatter combos and set up great bursts with arena partners as well. Moving to the other spectrum, PvE, Mage is great throughout the expansion as well, being particularly the strongest in the beginning and near the last
Look at this damage meter here.
phases. In TBC,
So he's saying very strong during first and last phases. I've heard that as well. In the middle, they're decent, but they're not the top. But they're
Arcane
right up
Mage
there.
is nuts, and at the start of Wrath, that single target damage monster brings that same exact energy with how short the fights are in Naxxramas, making them S tier. Moving on from phase 1 begins the ascent of the Great Fire Mage spec, one of the greatest
Looking
scaling
forward to playing Fire
specializations
Mage.
in the game. By phase 3 and onward, they easily overtake Arcane Mage with having over 50% critical strike, giving you the ability to toss out constant Pyroblasts to deal massive damage and great AoE with Living Bomb and Flame Strikes. Mages are going to be great in any expansion. And
Oh,
even while
looking
leveling
forward to
Wrath
it,
of the
man.
Lich King, you're going to be super efficient on your solo farming potential. It may not be as powerful as Classic or TBC, but it's still very strong nonetheless to level 1. Mages are always wanted in every scenario: battlegrounds, arenas, open world PvP, dungeons, raids, you name it. There can never be enough massive damage spellcasters around. Now going to number 3, the Death Knight. The unstoppable undead juggernaut. The Death Knight is a fantastic choice for anyone interested in being a melee in Wrath of the Lich King for a ton of reasons.
Press W,
Death
man.
Knight being absolutely insane.
The one thing that you always see in these expansions is eventually melee just takes over. They just sit there and press W and just keep going non-stop. So when you get into a lot of these raids that want to clear things faster and stuff like that, when you got to wait for mages to regain mana and all that sort of stuff, with warriors and DKs, you just press W and you just keep going. So DKs are really no different.
For
Just
PvP
keep
with
pumping.
Fantastic survivability and great CC due to desecration slowing everyone in an AoE, and they also bring massive damage by themselves, but they can also bring their super overpowered cooldown, Summon Gargoyle. This minion can literally kill players completely on its own with how much damage it deals. Moving on to PvE, Frost Death Knight is going to be your primary single target damage spec, while Unholy is fantastic for spread cleave DPS. Both are great and equally valuable in the raids due to the specialization specific buffs they bring, but these two specs dance between being S tier and A tier constantly throughout the expansion, so they will always bring great numbers and be wanted. Talking about Blood Death Knight, they are known for bringing massive threat generation with Icy Touch, to where you can watch Netflix while tanking certain bosses. It's that easy. On top of it all, they
someone please tell me that they're a god tier tank and that they want to play Blood DK. Like, we are seriously looking for a god tier. We've got 2 god tier tanks already. I need a Blood DK to fill that out. And then our raid is basically, we're set, we're ready to go.
They have fantastic defensive cooldowns that are
everybody that I talk to that's playing a DK, they want to go Frost or Unholy.
Really short cooldowns as well, and it also helps that the learning curve isn't too difficult, so it should be easy to pick up.
Wait, maybe I could do it. He's saying the learning curve is not too difficult. Chat, could Alodar play Blood DK?
Having the ability to be very strong in both melee DPS and tanking with all 3 specializations is honestly just nuts. Don't forget that they can
should Alodar play Blood DK, chat?
Solo groups of mobs very easily and even kill tons of elites on their own.
Oh yeah, I could. All right.
Nasty XP per hour. The Death Knight is no slouch in Wrath and shouldn't be taken lightly. With great group utility, high damage.
Press 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I might screw that up. I might screw that up.
This as being one of the safest classes in WoW. Moving along to number 4, the Druid, the literal Swiss Army knife of World of Warcraft. The jack of all trades, but the master of none. Well, not necessarily.
We did not pick this one. I was thinking about Druid, but
phase 1 due to lacking specific stats and set bonuses. Afterward, they are near the top DPS due to no.
See, the thing with Druid is you're probably only going to take one of each. So I guess that's 3 versions, but like you're probably only going to take one Resto Druid if you're going to take a Resto Healer. You're probably only going to take one. Well, you're only going to probably take one Boomkin. And you're probably only going to take one Feral to tank. If you've got an extra spot for a DPS, maybe a second Feral slides in there. But, you know, people are going to make the argument, why bring a Feral when you can? I mean, I know Ferals do really good DPS now in Wrath, so I could see that maybe happening.
Keep up with them on their AoE in phase 2 and armor penetration.
Alodar probably only wants to stick to a class that only uses one spell. Which class is that? I will reroll right now. Which class only uses one spell? I'm switching to Mage, and I'm finding that I've got to press at least 3 buttons. Like, what is there? Like, I'm playing Warlock right now, and I just sit there and cast, like, 2 spells. I'm going to make a macro so it just casts all my spells. Like, it cycles through all the spells.
Gear in
I'm not playing Everlook, dude. I played Mage in Classic, went to Warlock and TBC, and now I'm looking to go back to Mage. Fire Mage looks like it's a hell of a lot of fun, so we're gonna try that.
Phase 4. So they bring great damage. Is that it? Not at all. They also bring the ability to swap to bear tank and off tank at ease, giving them the opportunity of having by far the biggest health pool in the entire game, hitting numbers you never even knew were possible. They lack a bit of threat.
So our third tank is going to be a Feral Cat, who, when we need a third tank, will swap to Druid.
Generation compared to Death Knight, but are an amazing main tank to have in a raid slot. Restoration.
Hey, Niduk, do Holy Paladins? I thought Holy Paladins were now able to do fairly decent AoE healing as well. They're not still just a tank healer, are they?
Is a phenomenal option for Druid as well, being the kings of healing over time, putting out crazy healing parses with the new ability Wild Growth. They also bring fantastic utility with the Tree of Life buff, as well as having the only
Hey, but see, here's my question. Like, this guy's using Resto Druid as an example. Do you want 2 Holy Paladins in your raid, or two Resto Druids? Like, which one do you want? I think you'd want 2 Holy Paladins, right? But is the AoE healing good enough to warrant having multiple ones? I don't know. I don't play Holy Paladin, so I'm like, it's the one healer class that I really know absolutely jack about. I can play a Priest, I can play a Druid, I could probably play a Shaman. I've got an idea how to play Shaman. I have no idea how to play Paladin, like Holy Paladin. I've got Paladins in a raid, but I don't play
combat
them.
res in the game, making them super valuable. Boomkin may struggle in PvE compared to the other strong casters, but they are great in PvP with certain arena comps, and are specifically very powerful in battlegrounds with the amount of spread pressure they can bring. Overall,
Did this guy just say that Boomkins suffer in PvE? I think he did say that, but I think he's
res in the game, making
I think they're actually doing quite well. They're doing actually a decent amount of damage, and they can do they could dish out quite a bit of damage.
super valuable. Boomkin may struggle in PvE compared to the other strong
Yeah,
casters, but they are great.
Like we were debating this before. Like there's a gentleman that he's playing a Boomkin, and he was saying, you know, you could bring 2 or whatever, maybe 3 to a raid, and I was like, I think any really good raid is probably gonna bring 1, but they're still gonna replace that second or third Boomkin or whatever with a better DPS class, someone that's just pumping out more DPS. I just think that's the way it's gonna be. You're gonna see another lock, or you're gonna see another mage or something like that, or maybe not even something that's a caster. You might just bring another unholy DK, like a second unholy or something like that. So
PvP with certain arena comps, and are specifically very powerful in battlegrounds with the amount of spread pressure they can bring. Overall, the best spec for PvP is going to be either Restoration and Feral Druid though. The Restoration Druid is the best spec for healing on the move and having insane mobility, as well as having the advantage to be in stealth at the start of a game, to even get greater positioning, while Feral Druid is amazing as well for having great mobility and high burst damage with hitting massive ferocious bites, and having instant cyclones for CC pressure as well. Overall, the Druid is an amazing choice in Wrath of the Lich King due to their versatility and dual spec coming into the game, makes them even stronger overall. And finally, our last wild card, number 5, the Rogue. I know, it seems like a crazy choice, but you gotta hear me out on this one. It's very important to note that all 3 specs are viable and excel well in at least one form of content, whether it be PvE or PvP. Starting things off with PvE, Assassination is amazing early on due to the lack of needing of armor penetration, with most of their damage coming from their...
So we're lucky we have 2 outstanding rogues. Like I've got 2 rogues that I know are gonna be 99 parsing rogues. And they are perhaps the king of single target damage. If you're on just a one boss fight, a one target fight for a boss, having 2 rogues, 2 99 parsing rogues are going to be absolutely disgusting. But no lock. I do think that's kind of odd because every raid is going to want 3 or 4 locks. Some raids, like the guys that are just like, you know, you see their accomplice or whatever, like, they joke, sort of, but they've got like 8 locks in their raid for, you know, it's just like, it's disgusting. But I think if you're maining a lock and you're good at playing a lock, you're going to get a spot.
Poisons and envenom, bypassing armor.
My maining mage or lock, Alodar, I'm going to have both. So I will have my mage. That's the one that right now I'm intending on being my main raiding character. And I'm going to have an undead mage as well. So the high warlord that you guys know that I have, I will probably have that just for PvP. So like this character here is going to be my PvP mage, basically. And then for raiding, it's going to be the troll one that I just leveled up. I've got 4 mages now. I wish I would have known that Blizzard was going to bring in race change before I started leveling it up, but it is what it is, right? So... I've got a troll 70 and I've got an undead 70. I'll use one for the other. If for some reason we were able to find like a 99 parsing mage and he's like, hey, do you guys have a spot? Then I might look to actually go back to playing lock, because I can play lock at a really decent level. And that just shores up one more spot where we've got a really high caliber player. We'll have to wait and see, but
armor. So phase 1, they are a great option. But from there, Combat Rogue and Raids is just going to outscale them due to the acquiring of pieces from tier sets and armor penetration, pushing them straight to the top most of the time. In Phase 2 and Phase 4 specifically, Rogue just becomes almost untouchable with the amount of raw DPS it can bring and strong cleave with fan and knives as well. Rogues bring a unique dynamic to almost any PvP scenario with incredibly strong hit and run playstyle, high burst, and the ability to easily reset fights with Vanish. The Subtlety Rogue surprisingly gets even stronger in PvP in Wrath of the Lich King, with the addition to having a few new incredible skills like Dismantle and their very powerful new cooldown, Shadow Dance. If you're looking for insane burst and control, Subtlety Rogue is the first person you call. The Rogue overall is just an insane damage dealer in PvE and scales tremendously throughout the expansion, while in PvP, Subtlety is incredibly strong with Shadow Dance and even those crazy one-shots from Killing Spree with the combat spec. Wrath of the Lich King is going to be a great opportunity for you to decide whether you want to
destroyed that guy
or not. And today, we just wanted to bring you some classes that we consider safe when it comes to both PvE and PvP. We aren't saying that these classes are the only classes, we just wanted to try and guide you in the right direction with these ones in particular. Wrath Classic is just a few weeks away, and we here at the Comeback Kids are super excited to be playing with you all very soon.
The Comeback Kids, I've honestly never heard of them before. This is a good video though.
Please be sure to like and subscribe for more information. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. My name's Sky from the Comeback Kids. I'll see you all in the next one. Hey!
Okay, so first of all, that was a really good video. I actually really liked it. I think we pretty much got the same thing, except I was picking specs, he was picking classes. Definitely, if you're watching this video on YouTube, I'll leave the link to it down below, of course. Like and subscribe to this guy's channel. Do him a favor. These guys work hard on the videos. But I'll leave the stuff down below, same as you guys are watching live on stream. That was a good video. No insult to these guys. I've never heard of them before, but that was a good quality video. So I hope they keep putting out more content. As far as what they said for classes, we could talk about maybe the classes that are maybe the ones that you should maybe leer away from, and we could maybe have these guys maybe done a video on that, because maybe that's another video. I don't even know how old that video is that I watched. I just saw the title pop up. Here it is. So 7 days ago. It looks like they've got a bunch of really solid videos though. So the best PvP spec. I don't see anything where they talk about like the 3 unsafest classes. So if I was to pick like the 3 unsafest classes or a couple of unsafe ones, right now I would say Shaman would be at the top of that list. Like, without a doubt, Shaman is at the top of that list because there were so many of them. People were re-rolling to Shaman and TBC because they everybody wanted like double lusts and all this other stuff, right? And Shamans had like this, this attitude where they're like, well, if you don't take me, I'm going to go to this other guild or whatever, right? It was just ridiculous with Shamans. And nobody is happier than me that raids are only going to need to bring 1, maybe 2 Shamans. Nobody's happier than me because I don't have to worry about, well, if you don't give me that CVOS, I'm going to go to this other guild. We had 3 Shamans quit after being in our raid. I kid you not, for less than 2 weeks because they didn't get the first CVOS that dropped. I'm not kidding you. We had one that had quit the guild and then rejoined, and then CVOS dropped and he quit the guild immediately again because he didn't get it. And we're like, why would we give it to you? You've already shown that you're just going to ditch the guild. So he left. It was like, whatever, we'll find another Shaman. We had another guy who he went through a 1-week trial, okay, which is generally you don't get any gear, but we're not complete assholes. If something drops that nobody else needs, we're not jerks. We'll give it to somebody that's on trial. And then the next week, he was basically put on the main roster. CVOS happened to drop that 2nd week, so his actual 1st week in the guild, CVOS dropped. He was one of 6 Shamans, I believe, at least 5, but one of 6, I think. And then, of course, everybody else that wants CVOS as well. He didn't get it. He wasn't even the first, he wasn't even the only enhancement Shaman that needed it. The other enhancement that we had in the raid also needed it, who had been with us for months and months. This guy didn't get it. G quit immediately after the raid. And it's like, really? That's the reason we didn't give it to you. Like, right there. Like, if you're going into a guild and you pass their trial period, if something big drops, you should probably assume that you're probably not getting it your 1st week there. Now, we've had incidents where, like, Zardoom has dropped or something like that recently, and we basically just given it to someone because nobody else needs them anymore. That's completely different. We're talking like early on the content. It was just ridiculous. So I think if I did list off 3 classes, maybe I should make a video on it. 3 classes that would be unsafe to play. Definitely Shaman's at the top of that list. Second one might be priest, because you're gonna have one shadow and you're gonna have one disc, and that's it. Like that's all you're gonna have. You're not gonna have a second disc in your raid. You probably shouldn't have a second disc in your raid. So you're gonna have 2 priests in the raid. So priest has got to be up there, and then number 3, I would probably have to still say warrior. You're gonna have an arms warrior, and most raids do not even want a prot warrior as a tank. They don't even want it. Their prot warriors are really good at 5-man instances, but most 25-man raids are not even gonna want a prot warrior on their raid. They're gonna be looking for the blood DKs, the paladin, all that sort of stuff. So those would be my 3. Anyways, guys, if you like this video, please do me a favor, like and subscribe to the channel. If you want to talk to me more about anything else to do with World of Warcraft, about this video, or anything else, or anything gaming or nerdy in general, you can come talk to me. I stream 6 nights a week at twitch.tv from Tuesday till Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern. You can come chat with me there. And I will definitely be playing Wrath of the Lich King all the way through. Our guild Tyrants wants to go for first week kills, all that sort of fun stuff. Plus, we do a bunch of other stuff on stream, a lot of PvP and stuff like that too. So if you're interested, come chat with me there. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. And again, please do me a favor, like and subscribe. It really does help me out. Thanks a lot. See you in the next one.